Yeah, well, that's why you sat on that side of the table, right? All right. Good evening. It is January 28th, 2026. We're here for the Kirkland Township Board meeting. We'll just take things in order as we talk about it. In order, the first thing we just need to do is approve our minutes from the last meeting. Those are very, very simple. Our last meeting, if you recall, was the day, a neighbor who we won't mention by name, but accidentally ran his combine into a power line, and we did our meeting outside because, tonight's a little colder, snowier. Tonight's not the night to do an outdoor meeting, but it was a very short meeting where all we needed to do and all we did was adopt the budget for this year, which was the same as we had for the prior year. So that being the minutes, we'll be technical like we're supposed to. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Approved.
Thank you. And all in favor? Yeah, we'll follow the form, as silly as it may seem for a little bit. So we got a few things to talk about tonight. The main things are we've got our fire contracts, we've got our cemetery contracts, we've got our office rent contract, we got our salary ordinance to do, our township assistance guidelines to do, and I'll just talk briefly about what we've done in township assistance in our finances over the last year. Everything, as a refresher, our fire contracts are tied to our budget. We have maintained our taxes. So whether the county or the state has done what they've done in taxes, our township taxes have remained the same. We haven't increased them, we haven't decreased them. They've always given us a nice cushion with respect to that. DLGF, Department of Local Government Finances, limits based upon our budget what we can do with our contracts. So like we did in 2024 and 2025 contracts, these are the exact same figures because we're given every penny we have, including from the Cume Fire Fund. Historically, Cume Fire Fund money must go, it can't go to salary or anything. It must go to equipment, capital type things. And there's kind of two ways to do it. They can periodically send invoices when they purchase something, or we can do a contract where we give them the maximum amount we can, and they promise in that contract to use it for those permissible purposes, which I like because that allows us to maximize what we give to them. I certainly trust them to use the money correctly, and we've got the contract there with respect to that. So the fire contracts you'll see as Pat's around, those figures are the same that we've had the last couple of years where we max them pursuant to our budget. Everything remains the same in terms of our cemetery contracts. They're the same amounts that the caretakers want. They are happy, and I think that they've been making some improvements. The only thing I'd speak to with respect to cemeteries is we talked about the capital improvement plan they wanted to do next year because they're trying to claw money back from a lot of stuff. We can look this year if we think ice storm comes in the next month and tree falls on a stone or something that we need to fix. Like if there are things that we see that we can address, we can look at that later in the year. But so the cemetery contracts are unchanged. The salary stuff that we have, everything is staying the same. I use all that to say that one thing is changing. The amount that we give our township investigator, refresher for township assistance, there are two individuals that do the investigation for all the townships in the county because we all work together on that and split it up. Our townships had a little bit more involved, and they haven't done a raise for her in a while too. So we are going from, down on the page here, $50.25 per month that Kirkland Township was paying is going up to $92.60. So every township has their breakdown on that, but that's just to let you know that in terms of what our contribution is for the salary of our investigator, who does a good job and have the report here. That's what that is. So a lot of this meeting, unless you got any questions, is just kind of passing papers around the table and go.
I like that you're giving.
I like we've talked before, you learn different things and I think it's been overdue. She's been responsive. It's not like it's her main gig. It's do that. But while we're on that topic, let me just briefly talk about what it was last year for township assistants. So in her salary last year was approximately $603. So that's going to go up to $1,111.20 per share as I put that together today. So in terms of what Kirkland Township pays her, she's then getting what she gets from the other townships too. So last year for 2025, there were two different requests for township assistance that involved 13 different residents. So the number of people living in the households or whatever. And I'll tell you, we've paid propane to heat home. That's been the main one. There was an issue with rent for one particular time, but so the total benefits paid was $1,864.93 for two households, covering what I just mentioned with that. This form that I'll be submitting as part of our annual financial report to the state includes a lot of zeros, and that's a good thing, right? Our desire would be that township's assistance is great, that it's there if necessary, but we don't want to ever have to use it. And we've sparingly had to use it. So that's been good. So that's kind of where the township assistance numbers are. And I was going to do this when we were talking. One question that was there was also to be how much was we paying in the last year for our resident library cards. I started putting it together because I was curious myself. I think our resident library cards have increased a little bit. So we paid $4,434 over 12 months for resident library cards, which that comes to about, I'm blanking on the exact figure, it's like $94 or $96 per person. They have to pay $5, remember, it's what we've always set up previously. And if they pay their $5, we'll pay the remainder. So just over $4,400 divided by that. So we are happily having a lot of people using the library of Kirkland Township. And that has increased over the last couple of years as I've been the trustee. So in that sense, that's great. So I know I'm talking a little bit. Are there questions with anything I've said so far? So we'll take this in order of things that we're checking off for requirements for our first meeting of the year. The first is reorganization of the board, which doesn't technically have to be reorganized, but over the last couple of years, Ren, you have served as the chair or board president. Dave has served officially as secretary, as a position to have, and Rebecca has served as a board member. That can be modified if you all want to do that, or you can, one of you make a motion to nominate for everybody to be in those same roles. And we've got a quorum here tonight, but Dave's not here, right? Yeah. So you do that. So if you want to know my recommendation, I'd say for the remainder of this term, as we're in an election year, that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We could stay the same, or I know some townships like to move it around just because they like to move it around. So we need to, or I should say the board needs to determine a president, secretary, and a board member. So Ren, are you willing to be the president again this year, as you've been for many years?
Me too, if somebody have it.
Are you willing to nominate him to do that? Okay. You both have to vote for it, so you're not allowed to abstain. Help me out here. So all in favor of Ren serving as the president? I thank you. Perfect. I know it seems silly, but we're gonna do it right. And I was thinking that Dave could remain as secretary like he was before too. Motion? All right, all in favor? Aye, perfect. All right, so Ren will again be the president of the board. Dave will be the secretary. So thank you for that. The next thing, and this is the first one I have for you guys can see with me. This is the salary ordinance that we do every year. These figures have remained the same. Nothing has changed here. So the trustees, $5,000 position. They have always, for whatever reason, had a township clerk, although we don't have one, but they've had a line item for it and it just goes unused, which kind of helps with the slush fund, if nothing else. The 3 board members, and then what the salary will be for this next year for, excuse me. Start. 6 out there. So there are, and whatever. There are 3 lines. There's 2 of you here tonight. So if everything looks good, can you just go ahead and sign on the top line, Ren, for adopting the salary ordinance? Beck can do that. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just, it doesn't matter which line. A couple of these, you'll be able to see which line you need to, but that one, any line is fine. So the township assistance guidelines with what we do, even though there's nothing that's changed, you sign on the present line, please, Ren. Nothing's changed with respect to that, but we're supposed to have the official adoption of those every year. So we'll sign at the bottom of the vendor side there. I'm just gonna go in order. So all of these contracts going down the list here for 2026 are in duplicate form. So that when I send them, instead of trying to do it, we just have 2 copies. I keep one and they have one to go. So the first one is, they're identical, so you can each look at it and then swap. Your names are on there to sign, but that's the township rent agreement, which has remained unchanged for at least 4 years. I'd have to go back further to see that, but for renting the township office. So you swap those. Then the next one, there's 2 copies so that each can see. This is the Zion Cemetery with Brady Ripple, who they on their own took it upon themselves to take care of dandelions and all sorts of other stuff there. The cemetery is looking a lot better there. So very pleased with them. So that's for the Ripples to continue on as the caretakers for Zion Cemetery. I have another pen here. So that one should be good. One of my pens doing the trick. So that was Zion. This is Shady Cemetery, where Greg continues to uphold the family tradition of taking care of the cemetery, even though he chooses to, we've talked about this before, he chooses to subcontract it out for more money than he's receiving from us, but that's something he's been desirous of doing and allow him to continue. I have been, and I expect that Brandon will continue doing so, but yes, Brandon has been who he has been using, or maybe it's one, I don't know, does Brandon have kids? He's younger, he's around my brother's age.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Oh, maybe, I
remember.
don't know, time flies.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Don't ask
Yeah,
me.
He's old enough that he could, depending on those circumstances, but I don't know. This is the fire protection contract for Preble. Yeah, it doesn't matter which line you sign on that one, so you can, in fact, if you want to do the second line, since he's doing the
Yep.
top line, that way they'll match, please. But, so that's for fire protection from our Preble Volunteer Fire Department.
Did we have to cut some this year, or everything stayed the same? I mean, you said everything stayed the same?
Everything has stayed the same as what the 2024
Yeah.
and 2025 contracts. So it's stayed the same. And that's because if you remember a little more than a year ago, when we talked about that, we wanted to maximize it, and DLGF, the SBOA said, this is what you could do. So the reason we do it in this form, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't know if other townships are doing that, but at least we are doing this Cume Fire contract because the SBOA loved it when I suggested it. And I thought it served both the purposes that we had, where we wanted to maximize what we're giving the fire department within what the budget allows. So this is the Cume Fire contract where they're agreeing to use the money for the permissible purposes with respect to that. Please, as we're going, I know I'm talking a lot, but if you got a question, please just jump in. Same thing, just the other fire department. So for Monroe Volunteer Fire Department, that's Cume Fire contract for equipment. Our contribution to Monroe's equipment for fire protection for the township.
And my fire department is,
Yes. And
and Mike's is.
okay, that's right there at the line then. Yeah. Bounces around. And I know, well, talk about other counties and other townships and stuff. I'll just say this. Things are going well here. Everybody's getting along. But it's
Yeah.
not true everywhere. So I'm happy with the fire department and happy that we can maximize what we do. So this next one is for Monroe Fire Department. That is for the fire protection part.
Oh.
What we just did was for the equipment aspect of in fire. That one is for the fire protection.
Get in between there.
Yep, get in there.
Some of these lines are a little tighter. I'll let you guess which ones I drafted. Trying to make it a little easier. Monroe has its rescue unit, which is separate in an entity with some of the equipment there. So that is the contract with respect to the Monroe Rescue Unit for one of their vehicles. If they're doing a rescue that's not fire related.
Tree.
Yeah, but that's funny.
Sorry.
No, that's good because it's happened like that. There actually was, it's funny you say that because I know that Angola's fire department were rescuing in the last week the farmer and his dog from a pond. The dog, it's cold enough now that things are iced over, but right before it got cold enough, dog fell in and he went out on a boat to try to get to it, and he ended up, paddle on ice doesn't work very well, so he got stuck too, and they had to use the special equipment to get them out. So there were a few issues with that, but
It's true. I drove burned high water
okay.
years ago. It froze to the top of my car.
And Grandpa took his granddaughter out on the ice last week there and fell through and killed both of them.
No,
Yeah, sent in the news. Right?
that's terrible.
So, we've got our positions, our salary, our contracts, everything's there. As I've seen with other stuff, there's, open door laws and different stuff, certain township business, right? We don't talk about it unless it's available for everyone to talk. So, just leave a tiny bit here, time in. Is there anything else that we need to talk about, from board's perspective?
I know.
We will, so, what happens from here, as we start going through the year? If we identify something for cemeteries in terms of capital improvement or something, we can make a note of that so that later in the years, we have a meeting where we can talk about that and work to do that. But, in the summer months, usually around July or September is where it's been, is when DLGF sets up time to meet with me to talk about the budget for the next year. So I'll go with them whenever they have that time set up for budget planning stuff. Thereafter, we'll set up our initial budget meeting to talk about it, and then the budget adoption meeting. But, absent, a need that we see for something that we'd like to get together to talk about, the only two meetings that we can anticipate likely needing to happen will just be the budget meetings towards the late summer, early fall. Get that done.
Harvest season.
Yeah, get it, and we always, there's jokes about human nature and procrastination, we have all that, but try to get it done a little earlier. I'd like to get it done if possible in September this year instead of October like we did last year, just so that we take any pressure off. I don't want you to have a really good weather day to be out in the fields and you're stuck looking at me, right? But no, nobody wants that. So, seeing that you don't have anything else, all I need is a motion to adjourn. Second, we'll vote to approve adjourning the meeting. Thank you for being here tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right,
All right. So good night. Thank you.
Mike,